Welcome back, everybody. It's Ben from Behāv again, and today I want to go over the learn category in Behāv so you can understand the theoretical foundation for how Behāv was made. So here I have it on my home screen now, so I'm just going to tap there. The disclaimer comes up like I told you in the other video. Now you're here. So to get to the learn category, we're going to go to your far right profile icon, and then we'll go to the learn more. So I'm going to go over this page. I won't specifically go over each detail. I won't read it to you because you can read that on your own. But just so you get an idea of how it's made. So essentially we're combining two main things. We're combining an environmental space and we're combining an internal space. So you can have a green space indicating that being positive affect space. So space that inspire seeking, learning, care, play, positive desire, those affects. And you can also have an internal affect space that also represents those values as well. So the main goal of using this app is to help people understand what their locus of control is and to be able to expand that depending on where they are geographically. So just because you're in a green space physically, that doesn't mean that you'll be in a green space internally. And that's based off of the concept within habit-forming science of behavioral complexity. So to have a habit, you need to have cues, consistent rewards, motivation planning, and then there's behavioral complexity. No one really addresses that. And that's what this app measures. So for instance, you could be, let's say, at a birthday party, which is everyone's happy and everyone's celebrating, but there could be something from holding you back from enjoying that moment or being able to experience whatever fulfillment that you want to have. And that's what this image represents. So I developed this technology to be able to measure the congruity of that and see if you can go from a negative affect space internally to a positive affect space internally while in a physically green space. So the whole purpose of that in the beginning that I told you in the other video was we have a 24-hour survey. So if you don't categorize your day based off of your activities and your affects, we won't be able to know what areas that are you're struggling in and what areas that you're totally fine in. So that's the purpose of having that 24-hour survey that you're consistently analyzing yourself and you're reflecting on. So here's an example of being able to understand the transtheoretical model tool that I created. It involves being able to track the frequency of your habits, right, and that relates to a certain amount of pressure. And that can be talked about in a later video because that requires more topics on the map and the legends. But what can happen is you can be in a green space physically, right? But depending on the amount of affects and behaviors that you're having, you can internally be in a darker space than that. So the goal is to be able to find green spaces like fitness, healthy eating, relationships, to be able to cultivate that inner positive affect green space. And what's cool about this application is that you can combine and look at your friends' affects and then see what their locations are and see what their affects are. And you can see what's overlapping. So in this case, this person is being able to add two other friends to their space, and they're both all green, internally and externally. But the thing about that is, you're the average of your 5 friends, and if someone is representing a negative affect space internally, that has an impact on you and everyone else, right? So you have to be mindful of who you spend time with and what you guys are doing. So in that case, you might have to begin removing friends because having an internal negative affect space affects the color of your environmental space and everything becomes darker as well. And you'll be able to visualize that on the map itself. So to preserve your positive affect states, you might have to start removing people from that friend circle that you're used to being around, which is really difficult, but you'll be able to return to a positive affect space internally and externally, and that's really the goal. is to recognize that. And since this is crowdsourced, we'll be able to track multiple green spaces, multiple environmental spaces that are inhibiting us to be able to have positive affect nationally and hopefully internationally. And that's the synopsis of this. So I appreciate you watching. Check back for more videos on other features going over for the Behāv app, and I will see you then.